a regular base has for this facility. Over here on the east side, you'll see a row of airplanes, and out in the field there all by itself is a weather station. What they do is they put the spray latex on these aircraft when they come in. They come in basically, they're just regular airplanes. They take the fuel out of them, they make them safe, take all the explosives out, and drain all the fuel that goes right back into our fuel tanks over there. What they do then is wash the aircraft. They're going to apply one dark coat of this spray stuff. It's called spray latex or spray lat. One dark coat. After that dries, they're going to go and put 2 coats of a white on. Now the first aircraft here, 711, if you'll take this and pass it back, sir, down the bus and bring it back the other side. The aircraft 711 actually has a white on it that one of our roofing companies, cooler and warmer, basically. It reflects the heat. If you look at that little piece of white stuff, it's got some little granules in it, and that actually helps to reflect the sun. But these are test aircraft. You see that crooked sign out there? That follows the sun around, and then she'll come back in the morning, do it again. Here we have a whole pod, what do they call them? Pods, groups, gaggles, herds. This is the newest bunch of the F-16s, the Hornets. These aircraft come from all states. These are up high on the hours on their flying time, but they're still usable. If any of them had to go back to war, it would be this bunch first. They can be regenerated. You can get your fingernail underneath that spray latex and peel it off like a Band-Aid. So these are reusable airplanes. Eventually they'll be made into drones. Oil's been drained out of them. A very light 1010 oil's been put inside to keep them. The air is sucked out of these tanks, and then they ingest clean, dry nitrogen. The vertical tanks here are helicopters. There's about 7,000 engines out here, going from rocket engines, C-130s, P-3 Orions, and a whole herd of other airplanes. Here's some engines that are being taken apart. They're getting all the usable, good, high-dollar metals out of them, and they will be chopped up and ground up to Zippo lighters. The white engines here on your west side are C-130 or P-3 Orion engines. And here's some that are being pickled as we speak. Down here on the end we have the Galaxy engines, the C5 Galaxies. We'll get up close and personal with them in just a little while. We're going to make a left here, and Doug's going to go down Celebrity Road kind of slow. Wow. Try to talk about a whole lot of airplanes. Some of them I may skip. Or if they're really very interested, I may stay a long time. Starting off here on the south, the OV-1 Mohawk, built in Bethpage, New York, late 1950s, early 1960s, primarily used by the U.S. Army and Marine Corps. The big red one. It was a search airplane. It was a target identifying airplane. Next to her, we have the S-2. There's a whole variety of these S-2s. They're called trackers and tracers. And basically, in the 50s, how do you get stuff from the shore to the carriers? How do you get the radar out in front of the carriers? How do you bring parts to the carriers? Well, you do it in these CODs, carrier on-board delivery. You also get, the most important thing is the U.S. mail. Gasoline engine, 1950 design. To the north we have an S for Search 3B, and this is an airplane that would live on the carriers, could be used as a tanker. Primarily her job was to do some recon out in front of the carriers. As we go up a little further, the SH-60, the Sea-Hawk, has lots of different names. Some have guns on them. We have a nest. I don't know what you have. They're not gaggles, I call it. A rescue bunch. And the rescue bunch is going to have an unusual pipe sticking out the right side so she can be refueled in the air. We have C-130s assigned, that if there was a major forest fire up in the Grand Canyon or California, we could send a C-130 and our H-60s fly them out there, refuel them in the air, and they could help out in any conflict. C-1 Tracer, same thing. It's a COD aircraft, carrier on board delivery, 1950s plus. Let's see. We still don't have a sign on the Kiowa. The little Kiowa here, if you notice underneath the chin of the airplane and above the head of the airplane, there's an angled piece sticking out about that far. It's actually, well, it makes it go faster because it cuts the air. No. If she got down and hit a wire, the wire would tangle around the blades and the helicopter would be lost. That's a wire cutting kind of a protrusion sticking out the front of that airplane. Kiowas are pretty fast. H-3. You might remember the H-3 from early black and white TV when they would rescue the astronauts when they came back from space. That would have been the helicopter over here in the south. Let's go to the north again. The UC, Utility Cargo 12, Beach. It's a Super King Air. We've got a bunch of them. I wouldn't mind buying one of those. They're all in flyable condition with just a few little tinkers with them. Next to her, the big MH-53. If the little H-2 found somebody underwater with the sensors, then the MH-53 could drag a big wing behind it, and if they were mines, they could cut the mines. They're also used for rescue. Another little guy here on the north side, the T-39. T-39 is called the Sabre Liner. Why? Because it's a, well, it's a modification of the F-86 Sabre jet from Korean vintage. About an 8-passenger airplane and not much room for people over 6 foot. Then we have the H-46. Doug's got a helmet on. It has a big face shield and it has a monocle. Wherever Doug looks, the gun's on the bottom turn. He doesn't even have to think about it. I got to aim this gun over here. No, just look at the target, pull the trigger. So both of those airplanes, the first one, the AHJ and the AHS, are, one is Marine and the other one is the Navy. All right, let's go slide down a little more. We have a Vampire. Well, it's not a Vampire, it's a box. An E-2C box. No, they took the Hawkeye away for some reason. But as we're stopping here, I want you to look out in the north side here. You'll see a C-130 sitting back there with 03 on the nose, okay? Little red tail means that this is one of the ski airplanes. Well, that airplane went to Antarctica many years ago. Got caught in the snow. Got caught for 17 years under the snow. Took a big bunch of folks down there with a lot of shovels, dug it out. 17 years under the snow, Antarctica, and it flew for another almost 20 years in good service out of New York, out of Schenectady, New York. So we call her the Phoenix. Clever, I thought. Okay, on your south side now, we got a couple of other airplanes. The ES, Electronic Surveillance. The Shadow. All she did was record the transmissions from the bad guys. Took all this tape back to the carrier, and then they went through it and made their decisions. Next to her, ladies, remember somebody who flew flights against this kind of airplane? Tom Cruise. Remember, the bad guy was flying these A4s. It's in Russian colors, and this was one of the airplanes in the movie. Top Gun. Well, we saw one when you came in the museum, and you'll see one when you go out in the yard, number 88. They call her the Scooter. Such a little airplane. It is air refuelable. See on the far side, the right side of the cockpit, that pipe sticking out there? That's how they get fuel from that C-130. A T-34C trainer. 34C is a third generation. Twin jet engines. They flew for over 30 years for the Navy. And we'll look at the next one, a T-2 Buckeye. Came out of Columbus, Ohio. And she was the twin engine trainer for the Navy. Going to make Zippo lighters out of them. Okay, Oklahoma, OF, up at Air Force Base. Notice the small engines on this gray one? But you notice up here there's some 707s. Huh, why are 707s in here? These 707s, along with a lot more of them, were purchased way back when they started putting the fan engines on the jets. Makes them nice and quiet, where our old engines will leave black lines in the sky. There's so much kerosene in them. $444,000 each for those 707s. Once we took 4 engines off and put them on our airplanes, we saved $1 million per airplane. Takes about $90 million to cut the grass out here every year. And other things, change the light bulbs and things, pay the electric bill. From that 90 million, the guys and gals that work here contract, not the military folks, but they bring about $140 million back to the Tucson area in their paychecks. All these airplanes that are here today, when they were new, were around $140 some odd billion. I can't even fathom that number. Oh look, we've got flying saucers out there. I knew we had them, gosh darn. There should be another one over. Oh, there he is. Look, we have flying saucers. Don't tell me we don't have flying saucers. It's a Navy program over there where the P-3 Orions are being sent back to Lockheed on an 18-wheeler. The wings are not strong enough so they can be used as firefighters, but they can be used as passenger liners. Coming up on your north side, we have one jump jet, the AV-8 Harrier. The Marines love these airplanes. This is the English jump jet that fought in the Falklands War. We have 4 of them now, I think, on station. One's just coming out. These come back in about 6 months, and half these, 3/4 of these airplanes will be gone. If you might have noticed those machines back there on the north side, a lot of times they're parked up here in the corner of this fenced area. And this is where they chew up A-10s and smaller aircraft. Back there they're chewing up different kinds of equipment. This is a Defense Department facility where you can come in and buy things. Well, we still got, you see the yellow one over here? That's the claw. Here's an orange one with a claw. And then you have the shovels. And they'll be bringing an airplane in here shortly and making Zippo lighters out of it. Just chewing it up, putting in these blue containers. That thing is dangerous. It can chop up a B-52 in a matter of hours. The little small pieces you could put in your pickup truck. So this is a Defense Department logistics area. If you wanted to buy a couple of trucks, you may have to buy 8 or 9 of them to get, well, there's some fuel tanks, some desks, rubber tires. We even had a Zamboni in here once. Not the kind you go around the supermarket, but the kind you cut ice with. Power carts, big trucks. Again, you may have to buy 6 of them to have one good one. You can check it out online. He's coming in to get a load of something. Don't see anything earth-shattering in here now. The housing on the base is now contract. But back in the 70s, when it was military run, you could get refrigerators and freezers and dishwashers and all kinds of things in this facility. So we're going out the gate again, guys.